What's going on, guys? I'm up here at Grafton Archery. I'm pumped for today's video. You guys know what time of year it is. It's new bow season. I'm pumped for this time of the year every year because I love to come up here and do these reviews and get these reviews out there to you guys. I'm not building a house this year, and we have a little baby. I don't have one on the way that I know of. So I'm up here as soon as these bows come out, trying to get these videos out there to you guys. So without further ado, without prolonging this video too much, this is going to be the new Hoyt Alpha X.
This is what you're waiting for. I think we're ready to rock.
Hoyt did a complete redesign this year of their aluminum bows, and they did a lot of redesigning on their carbons. They kind of went to the drawing board on their platforms. You're still going to have roughly the same bow, axle to axle length, and things like that are going to be roughly the same. Not exactly the same, but pretty close. So with the Alpha X, this is the 30-inch version. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the specs. I've got them up on the board here this way. Axle to axle, 30 3/8. Brace height, 6 3/16. The weight of the bow, they're saying it weighs 4.55 pounds. With the hand scale, I got 4.9 pounds. But like I say, every year, I think they weigh all these bows with nothing on them. So the little side vibration dampeners are probably off of them. The little shorty stabilizer's off of them, and it already has a biscuit on it. So, you know, you take that biscuit off and all that other stuff, and you're probably pretty close to what Hoyt says it should weigh. Draw weight, same thing that Hoyt has pretty much had for the last couple of years, or for as long as I've been shooting Hoyt. 40 to 80 pound option. Speed, they're saying this bow shoots 344. One cool thing about this bow, they come with three different, or they don't come with them, but you have the option for 3 different mods. Which is something that they've changed over the years. They've went from one to the other to the next. I really didn't like the last version of their mods that much because it was such a vast adjustment. Guys like myself with shorter draw lengths seem to suffer from it. You don't really get the true performance of the cam. Now they have, for this bow, they've got a 25 to 26 inch mod option, 26 1/4 to 28 inch mod option, and then 28 1/4 to 30 inch mod option. And if you'll notice by those that they have quarters, that's right, Hoyt went to a 1/4 inch draw mod adjustment like most of the other big name brands have over the last couple years. The new cam is called the HBX Exact Cam. This cam is completely redesigned from the last, the HBX Pro cam that we've been shooting for the last couple years. They got a new let-off system as well, 75 to 85% let-off. And that let-off mod is actually adjustable 75 to 85, but then it's also, you can flip it where it gives you a spongier back wall if that's something that you're looking forward to or that you like. And it comes in 14 color options. So let me talk about some of the new things that Hoyt has deemed relevant to send out to the dealers. This is a sheet that Hoyt sends out with all the new stuff that they're saying they've done to these bows. I didn't write down all of them, but I wrote down the ones that I thought were pretty important and that I'd actually noticed on the bow. So they got new quiver mounts. The way this riser is machined out, you only have one mount side. So the right side on this bow is completely hollow, and the new quiver mount bracket goes to the left side of the bow and comes through the hollow riser. They came out with a new stand system, and it looks like a bipod from a rifle. It's pretty sweet, and it comes with that quick detach quiver mount, or I'm sorry, stabilizer mount, just like before, and it mounts to the riser. So even if you took your stabilizer off, it stays on there. It's adjustable back and forth. It's a pretty sweet little system. We don't have any in the shop yet, so I don't have one I can show you. Thinner grip. The grip itself is still the Vital Point grip that they've had, but the riser itself is thinner this way. And you can actually see it. Like if you look at last year's bows, look at this year's bow, you can see that it's thinner. The meat on the front of the grip is thinner, and you can actually feel it when you draw back and shoot the bow. I actually really like the way that feels. They say they got a 10% reduction in vibration and a 30% reduction in sound. I can't tell you that 100%, but what I can tell you is that this year's aluminum bows are quieter and have less vibration than last year's carbon bows. Another thing you'll notice, they went away from the limb dampeners. I am so glad they did, because I've lost my bottom limb dampener on my RX-7 Ultra I don't know how many times. They got new strings and cables. These are what they're calling their wire WRX strings and cables. They said they changed the material. They went to a premium string and cable. They're saying there's no need to go out and get aftermarket strings. We'll see. The verdict will be out this year. We'll see how that is. Less limb flex. So what they're saying, they went to a shorter, beefier, wider platformed limb system. And what they're saying is you get the equivalent, because the limbs flex less, you get 7/8 of an inch more usable axle to axle. So when you draw back, your string angle won't be as steep as it would be on, say, last year's bow. And that's what they're saying the benefit is to these wider platform. A wider limb platform makes a bow normally a little bit easier to tune and shoot. So, like I said, the verdict will be out but on the tunability as far as throughout the year, but I think this bow is going to be a step up from last year's bows. One thing that Hoyt does that I wish all the bow manufacturers would do is they label on their limb their draw length options. Then you got your built-in cam foot. As quirky and weird as this is just one of those little things that I absolutely love about these bows. So I've always kind of stood there with my bow between my legs, you know, if I want a glass or if I want to just set my bow down for a minute or whatever it is. I always set my bow down, especially if you have the stand that goes on the front. You just set your bow in the dirt and your string is always in the dirt and your cam is always in the dirt. Well, now they have a built-in, machined-in foot on the top and bottom cam with a little rubber O-ring around it, and you can just set it right down on top of that, and what that does is it just keeps the cam off the ground. Something simple that I would have never even thought about. It's awesome. Like I said, the limbs are wider. They're just wider stance and a wider limb. So they're saying they're 7/8 of an inch wider and 10 1/4 inch long. And then the spacers. So this is going to kind of go into tunability. So Hoyt has 3 available sets of aluminum spacers. Yes, you have to have a press to put them in or take them out, but they're aluminum. They're not plastic. I like it. And the cool thing about these is there's just 3. So, and they're color coded. I think they're like silver, red, and black maybe, or something like that. So you don't confuse them. So that was pretty much the biggest things. One thing that I didn't have written down that Hoyt did talk about was they have a machined out section in this riser for the Garmin sights. I think it's this middle section in the pick mount where they have it hollowed out, because they haven't had that in the past. And I'm just assuming that's what they're talking about. But the way this riser is machined out, guys, it looks pretty sweet, but I think that's what they really focused on when trying to get the bow quieter and less vibration. But other than that, the pick mount still the same. Other than that slot, the dovetail mount on the back still the same. So all your accessories, from if you've had any of the newer bows in the last year or so, all your accessories will fit on this bow. They didn't do any redesign as far as changing, changing accessory fit, other than the little stand on the bottom, which, like I said, I don't have one in the shop, so I can't show you. But let's go ahead and shoot this bow, and then I'll tell you how I rated this bow and scored this thing. I want that arrow. Watch this draw cycle. There's no, let me let it down, no hump at all. It's just that very last little minute and just poop, it just lumps right over. Now listen to this. That bow is so quiet and it has almost no vibration. There's a slight vibration when you first shoot. Just slight. But you don't feel the shot in your hand. So when you draw back and you shoot, you don't feel the bow pulling out of your hand. You feel just ever so slight vibration. Draw back, right there. Now watch this. See how fast that bow, I'm going to back up and you can see it a little bit. See that bow balance itself back out? Get another shot. Listen to this shot. Man, that bow feels good. Man, that bow just anchors so good. All right, but like I was saying, the back wall. So in the past, I get a little bit of I can kind of pull against the back wall on a Hoyt. This year, that's new stop. It just stops. When you get it back, it is there. And that's one of the biggest things I think they improved on in this cam. The back wall, the valley's great. And they did all that while keeping the same smooth draw cycle, which is what I really like. But the vibration in the shot and the silence, like just how quiet this bow is. Man, that bow feels good. Let me get one more shot. Man, that bow feels good. All right, so you've seen the bow getting shot. Let me talk about how I scored this thing. I changed my scoring system up this year a little bit, and I'll kind of get into why and how I did that, or why I did that and what I changed. So for shootability, I'm going to give the bow a 5. Tunability, I'm going to give the bow a 7. Draw cycle an 8. Noise and vibration an 8. Speed a 7. Balance an 8. Back wall a 9. Weight a 6. Fit and finish a 9. And price, I'm going to give a 6. All right, so that totals up to 73 total points for this new bow from Hoyt. So let's talk about a few things. So shootability, I give it a 5 because it's a shorter bow, 30 3/8, 6 3/16 brace height. That's a short brace height. They're definitely going to be a little bit more, there's going to be bows out there that are more shootable or lend themselves to be more shootable. Hoyt still has quite a bit of reflex in their riser versus some of the other brands, but it's going to be personal preference there. But I'm scoring shootability not off of my personal preference, but off of the measurements, essentially. Tunability, I give this bow a 7. And hear me out before you guys come troll me on YouTube. My personal preference in a bow's how tunable a bow is as simple as possible. I don't care if it requires a bow press, and the least amount of screw adjustments. Let me say why, and I've said this before. If you're just hiking in or walking into your tree stand in your backyard and you don't have to go through a bunch of brush and worry about falling, worry about dropping your bow, things like that, what I'm about to say doesn't matter to you. You can have as much stuff on your bow as you want. But if you're like me and you hunt in the backcountry and you always try to take care of your equipment, but there's just that chance that you fall or that chance that you catch whatever it is. You fly out and your bow vibrates in the bottom of the airplane for 6 hours or 8 hours, however many hours. You ride up and down the mountains and it's in your bow case in the back of the truck and it vibrates going up and down the mountains. The more screw options or screw adjustments that you have in a bow, there, in my opinion, are more options for something to come loose. What Hoyt did was they widened their limbs. They did a pinned system in the front of their limbs. spacer system is super easy to change out as long as you have a bow press. And it's always better to adjust at your cam if you have that option. The other thing is they went to 1/4 inch draw mod adjustments. That 1/4 inch makes a big difference on your draw length. Some guys don't need that 1/2 inch adjustment. They just need a 1/4. So that's nice. I just think Hoyt has that simplistic tunability versus some of the other brands. That's why I give it a higher score of a 7 versus, I think last year I gave them a 5. Draw cycle, probably one of the best draw cycles in the business, in my personal opinion. Draw cycle is going to be opinionated, but if you're like me and you want a bow that draws back smoothly and doesn't have that big drop off, and you can let that bow down, that's the biggest thing, especially for myself. I'm self-filming, I go to let a bow down, I don't want that thing to snatch my arm off. This bow, it does have a little bit of a yank right there at the back, but it's easy to control and you can let it down. I like that. Noise and vibration. They did an excellent job of changing some things on this bow to have less vibration and less noise. This bow is super, super quiet and doesn't have very much vibration. It has just a little bit on the shot, but not much. Speed, give it a 7. I'd say it's a little bit above average. It's not super fast. It's not slow. Balance, the bow balances well in my hand. I think they've really done well at figuring out the balance points in this bow, right and left and forward and aft. You just don't, when you hold the bow there, it doesn't want to drop forward. It doesn't want to fall right or left. It just kind of holds in your hand. Back wall, phenomenal on these bows. I say it every year. This is the best back wall that Hoyt has had. Weight-wise, it's average or maybe just slightly lighter than average. So I'm going to give it a 6. Fit and finish, as always. It's been a long time since Hoyts have had, at least 4 years, 5 years since Hoyts have had finish issues. The way these bows look, especially the aluminum bows, great finish, great fit and finish. Price. Price is something that I changed. So last year I had price, I had noise and vibration separate. And then I had price as like the 11th, like the add some points to the score, just like a bonus almost. Well, this year I've put noise and vibration together. I changed the order of importance on these things. Like the order that I have these on the board are the order of importance in my opinion. After I kind of went through last year's criteria, I think I kind of changed it a little bit. And I think this is more of what my preference is on certain things. What I did on price. So $600 is 10 points. Anything under $600 normally isn't going to be considered a premium bow. $600 is where I put 10 points. It's hard to find a bow in that premium level for that, but that's where my 10-point scale starts. So I have $600 is 10 points. If it's $900 or less, it's 8 points. $1,200 or less is 6 points. $1,500 or less is 4 points. $1,800 or less is 2 points. And anything over $1,800 is 0. With these bows getting so expensive, I felt like this was an important piece to add to the score of a bow. I did it this way because you'll see in the next video how I scored the carbon. And I'm not going to tell you what how I scored it, but if you want to see that, watch the next video. That price makes a difference in that score. So this bow is going to retail for around $1,200. So I gave it 6 points on price. That's kind of like your middle of the road. $1,200 is going to be pretty much, that's going to be your common price roughly for this level of bow from all the manufacturers. And like I said, that gives me a total of 73 points. I think Hoyt hit a home run with these new bows. I'm interested to shoot them at distance and see how they tune and shoot. But just based off shooting them back here in the back, I really like these bows. Quiet, no vibration, balance well, great draw stop, great valley and back wall. Super good bow from Hoyt. I think this is going to be probably I personally think this year this 30-inch bow is going to be the top seller. We'll see. But thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Comment down below if there's something else you want to see. Comment down below if you enjoyed the video. Just try to keep it tasteful. Don't just realize that I'm just a normal guy out here trying to bring these videos to you. I'm not a professional, nor do I claim to be. I'm just giving you my personal opinion on what I look for in a hunting bow. Call these guys up here at Grafton Archery at 704-855-1300. And as always, thank you to them for allowing me to come up here and do these videos. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Remember to live your life to the fullest and use your passions to bless others. We'll catch you on the next video.